What's up, everyone, and welcome to Clear Talk. I want to have a discussion in lieu of the Israel-Gaza ceasefire agreement. That's appears to be, at least for the first phase, used to be agreed upon even by the Israeli security or government, and has been signed off on. The word has already been given to the IDF to start their backing out, to the agreed upon lines. And basically, they've been given 24 hours. I mean, this, I think, was signed roughly our time, like 5 o'clock this morning, something like that. And so there's basically like 24 hours that they have to stop military engagement and to back out to those lines. And then, of course, we have the 72 hours for hostages and stuff to be released. And then, of course, Israel and all that. We talked about all that last night or yesterday. In lieu of all of this, and the question around whether or not Israel will ultimately go against it, which, they have a huge history of doing just that, of not adhering to ceasefires every single time, no matter who they were engaged with. This is an ongoing, historical fact of Israel, that they never truly adhere to ceasefires. And even in the argument in period of time where they supposedly were under a ceasefire and they hadn't broke the ceasefire yet, they were kind of technically breaking it, because they were still dropping bombs or doing military force in some way, form, or manner. It's not like, because to Israel, ceasefire doesn't seem to mean literally do not fire at all. Like, do not shoot a gun, do not shoot a missile, do not drop a bomb. That does not seem to, like, set within the terms of the word ceasefire. They expect that of the other party, but not them. And that has been historical for them. This is is always been the case, pretty much. And as we are already seeing, and I said yesterday that they were going to go ahead and they were probably going to bomb the hell out of the area within the 24 hours that they had to back out. And we have had images come out, smoke filled all through Gaza City, bombs have been dropped and stuff like that. and warnings from the IDF that, because as soon as this stuff started getting, the word started getting out that there was ceasefire being agreed on, people within Gaza were trying to make their way to areas that they previously couldn't get to, because they are wanting to get to those areas, to whether it's to see what's left of it, if it was their home or whatever, or maybe they're wanting to look through rubble to find members of their family or friends or whatever. Like, they've got there's purpose for them to want to go back as urgently as possible to these areas. They've tried every time that there has been some idea of of military withdrawal or something like that. They've done this every time, and who could blame them? But the IDF has put out argument already that we know you're going to try to do this, do not do it. And that's the reason why they keep dropping bombs there, to kind of deter people from going. And it's pretty much been as much that Netanyahu, members of the cabinet have, are steadily kind of in their own little interviews and stuff within Israel and stuff, making little sly comments that, like, it's not going to, it's never going to be over. That we're not ever going to completely pull out. We're not, that we will continue in some degree, form, or fashion to go after quote unquote Hamas. And, and that's the far right objective of Israel. It has been from the get go to completely, and not really just go after Hamas, but like completely eradicate everybody from the Gaza Strip. That's been their idea. We know that. But this is what I wanted to talk about is it really in Israel's best interest to do so? Do they really want to further alienate themselves from the world, from the international community? Because that is exactly what has happened. We've seen it progressively, them become more and more isolated, more and more villainized in the international community. And is it really smart for them to, in any way, not agree to this ceasefire or to, not continue on to the next phase or anything like that? And what if they didn't? What are they truly and honestly asking for? Where do they see themselves when it's all said and done? How are they going to see themselves in respect to the international community? And what support are they going to have? And how much is that going to affect them? I want to talk about all this. And we're going to try to do as quickly as possible. Thank you for joining me here at ClearTalk. I know that was a long introduction. And I'm kind of jumping this in the middle. If you're new here, welcome. Please check out my channels. ClearTalk, if you want to check out videos there, that's amazing. Consider subscribing, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Check out my other channels as well, JMDPLAY, puzzling. Consider subscribing to those as well. Like, share, do all the algorithm stuff to help get videos to people. If you have, want to do any kind of support, there are links there for support on the screen. Whether it's ongoing or one time, if you want to be a JMD Nation person, fan, member, please do so. That'd be amazing. Yeah, any support you give is very much appreciated. If you're returning, you're freaking amazing. You are the shit. Thank you very much. So this is the conversation, and I want to bring up because when I think of the opinion of Israel in the past, or at least what I grew up with, like I grew up in the Christian, bubble, evangelical Southern Baptist bubble, as I've spoke on with some of my religious series videos. And while I did understand and revel in that period, or I respected and viewed that area of the world as, the crux of my religion of the time, at that time, what I was being taught. The sort of sacredness of that area in its history, I didn't really necessarily connect that to, or I don't ever remember necessarily connecting that to the modern existence of Israel or its government, its people, or anything like that. but I was not really politicized in that way or understanding, Israel in a more like political, governmental, um, you know, international economic and just, geopolitical like landscape. I wasn't looking at them like that. Not like I have since I've, become an adult and I've started to learn more about the world, learn about how things work, our system, marketplace, or politics, everything like that. Started realizing how much Israel is a part and influences in our own country and in the United States. And so I don't remember, it being that serious to me in any kind of way. I wasn't a part of that like ideology, and I don't think anybody necessarily around me really was either. And if they were, it wasn't like obvious or anything of the whole like end times making greater Israel kind of idea that we've talked about. That wasn't something that I was really connected to or was a part of in any kind of way. It was just, do as I was supposed to do, according to the religion, believing in Jesus, blah blah blah. That was it. Now, granted, that's not me anymore, but I'm just pointing out that from my understanding previously, that wasn't a thing. And then as although obviously it was to some people, and still today is. But as I started really getting into politics and understanding the world and everything, I started to see that Israel had a lot to do with stuff going on and that they had a lot of influence. And I questioned that a lot. And I'm going, why is it seem like they why do they seem so important? Why do they seem to be influencing decisions that we're making here so much? It just doesn't make any sense. Why? I mean, is it really connected to religion, or is it connected to something else, or is it connected it just seemed very odd that they seemed so influential. And then the more and more and more, especially here recently in the past, with all this going on, it's like even more and more obvious how much power and play that they have with America, and how much America defends them, how much America goes to extents of defending them and protecting them and everything else, and how much of a, in the idea that, okay, at some point I realized, okay, well, what it is that they are just an extension of us. We control them, or we allow them to do certain things until it's, you would think, common sense that they've gone too far, and then we go, what? No, 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 pull back. You've gone too far. Like they are like playing bad cop, good cop. It's usually that scenario. Like Israel's the bad cop, we're the good cop, and that's how I feel like from an American standpoint we use them. Now, someone would probably argue that that's anti-Semitic, and I get that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think that there's a lot of people from the American viewpoint that think, okay, or politically, and like using Israel as the bad cop, while we put a front on as the good cop. And I feel like from the Israel standpoint, they're perfectly okay with that. The government, the ones in power, the Zionist movement, the Zionist part of Israel, I think they have no problem with that, because they look at it as benefiting them, because they are being allowed to do what they want to do, and it benefits them. So what does this all have to do with what I'm going for here? What this video is about? With this whole conflict since October 7th, And while there were parts, this is where I really started to hone in on and seeing the Palestinian conflict, the Palestinian issue. I didn't really, disclaimer, I didn't really completely see it or understand it before. It wasn't really on my radar. But since October 7th, and I've dove into the history, I've dove into trying to find an understanding as to why something like October 7th would have happened and why something that from October 8th has happened. And when digging into the history and learning about it and understanding about it and understanding it, trying to understand it from both sides, it has really, shown me or given me a different understanding of Israel and the U.S. and how we all play into this. And I've started to see, and I feel like from that point, while it was already an issue, and I understand that it was already an issue, and there were parts of the world who already saw it as an issue and had been trying to bring that to light while others were trying to hide it. Understandably, I understand that. The U.S., Israel, some other members were trying to hide the problem, trying to forget the problem, trying to act like the problem was not there. It's the reason why we were having stuff like the Abraham Accords and stuff trying to be put into place. They were trying to erase the Palestinian cause, basically. I understand that. But I feel like from October 7th on, and what has happened since, the just blatant, open, the ability to see, and everybody being able to see what I would say is Israel at their worst. And like worse than ever before, potentially. And you started to see this growing feeling within people in different age groups start to gain different opinions. Me for one. Losing what if I ever did have any, losing any respect whatsoever for the Israeli government and the people in power and the Zionist ideology and what they stand for, completely losing respect for it. And I think there's a lot of other people who have lost respect for it, or see it for what it is, and the just immoralness of it, or the just lack of humanitarian care, human care. I feel like it has really touched and opened up the eyes to a lot of people in a way, and placed Israel in a way that while they have support in many areas, within the United States and even some other international players, their support has been massively affected and massively drained. And I think there's an argument that while there might be a generation, the older generation, or even people in my generation or whatever who may still support them because of this just illusion of what they are. I feel that there are a lot of people within my generation and younger who that is highly or more online than most others in the other generations, and have seen what's going on firsthand. Images, videos, the dead, the carnage, children, babies, all, this complete just carnage and just destruction, genocide. The closest thing that we could connect, someone like me that could connect to what may have happened or what did happen in World War II or in Germany, like, and that type, we read it, we saw the videos or we saw the images, but like to have that firsthand like connection, that firsthand experience, I feel like this is the closest that we could get, and we're seeing it and going, holy shit. Like, we thought that something like this could never happen again. Like, something like that could never happen again. And yet we are seeing it. And at the hands of the people who were dealt it before. And it's just like, it's a complete mind fuck. I think that they are genuinely lost. They have genuinely lost huge sectors of my generation and especially the younger generation who are going to go forward with little to no respect, little to no support for the Zionist cause. Period. This whole last 2 years, I think, has ultimately brought about what we will see as a breaking point, as a step back from that ideology. And that it will, from here going forward, be a continued dying ideology. I mean, you've already, I've seen where even Jewish people themselves, there's a lot of growing Jewish community who have, I guess you could say, their eyes been opened. If they were a part of that or they were brought up in that, then suddenly they realize that there's a problem with it and that it's wrong and that they are now speaking out against it. I mean, there's just within the Jewish community, it's been a huge break and there's been a divide happening. But I think even outside of the Jewish community, in the specifically in the mid to younger generations, this is the end of the beginning, or the beginning of the end, rather. The beginning of the end of the Zionist movement, of the ideology that someone like Netanyahu and Smotrich and others in the far right Israel government and what they've been wanting to accomplish and what they've been wanting to do with the Palestinian people and what they've been wanting to do with the greater Israel, what they've been attacking, every fucking body around them and trying to take land and annex land and illegal settlements and everything that they've been doing to people, innocent people. The genocide, the starvation, the just lack of any sort of moral compass. they've lost. I mean, I would even say that's probably even a degree, a percentage of the older generations they've potentially lost as well. And deservingly so. And with that loss of support and respect, again, begs the question of what is Israel going to do right now? Can they genuinely afford to go against this agreement at any point? And I think that this is probably the most pivotal moment for them in making the decision of what they're going to do. How are they going to react with this loss of support, with this break that the international community has had, that we are fed up with their actions, we are fed up with their path, their direction, and all the things that they've been wanting to do. They are at a point of personal, at a forks, where they either are going to become hyper desperate and are going to go all out, which is the most feared and worst thing they could do. Or they could finally give in and realize that what they have been trying to do is highly, majorly unpopular, and that it will ultimately be at their own demise if they continue. I mean, I guess it has to be, it will probably come down to how close they think they actually are, and whether they think that they can actually accomplish it. Even if it, in accomplishing it, they ultimately lose it all. How desperate they are. Can they genuinely afford to not go with this? And I think that's going to be the big question. I certainly hope that they fall on the side of it's just not going to happen. That we will, how close are they to, how much and devoted are they to, we will die trying, I guess you could say. I certainly hope that they go through with it. I mean, I hope further actions are taken once they do completely go through with it. And, back completely out. Although I'm not completely convinced of other factors that are going to be a part of it. But I certainly hope that they don't decide to completely go back against it, because, man, I mean, not only will they completely lose everybody, like, they'll probably straight up lose almost everybody that isn't just straight up Zionist. But so many lives would be lost unnecessarily. So let's hope that they do. Let's hope that they decide to completely go through with it and stay with it, to back down completely. Because, like I said, they've lost. In the grand scheme, on the international stage, they have lost. And it's time that they realize it. It's time that their days are numbered. The future is not in favor of what they represent. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Let me know what you think. And until next time, ClearTalk, peace with love. I'm out.